Right now you're hearing all your favorite music on your favorite station. But wait, there's more.
More songs from the artists you love on exclusive stations by Odyssey.
Just open the Odyssey app and click exclusive stations, then a genre to dive deeper into.
A station might be just music, or maybe hosted by Ed Sheeran, Chris Martin, or one of your favorite DJs.
Across alternative, pop,
country, soft rock,
Latin, R&B,
kids,
and even more.
Get more with exclusive stations by Odyssey.
Brought to you by Macy's, Geico, and Coke Zero Sugar.
I was a sophomore in college when I was assaulted.
I was only 4.
I've attended many parole hearings for my mother's killer.
I felt helpless.
But now I have a voice.
Because I'm not alone. Because I can.
ICANN Crime Victims Assistance Network provides comprehensive victim services, including counseling and assistance at parole hearings free of charge to victims and survivors of violence. Visit ican-foundation.org.
We're here to help.
The project was supported by funding awarded by Federal Grant Fund 2019V2GX0053 through the Cal OES.
Sony Michel cuts to his right and goes in untouched. Sony Michel extends the Rams' lead to 22-14. Back to pass, flooded from the pocket, rolling right. He throws. It's picked off at the 35. Nick Scott takes it away, and the Rams will go home with their 4th win of the season. Hits it with the right foot. Kick on its way. It is good. Good to ice it 47 yards for Matt Gay. Check down middle, complete to Travis Homer. He's trying to sprint out to the left side, and he's knocked off his feet by David Long Jr. before he can get out of bounds, and that will do it at Lumen Field in Seattle on Thursday Night Football in Week 5.
Swing and a drive, deep to left field. This one is way out of here. Randy Arozarena with his first of 2021, and it's 4-0 Rays here in the 5th.
Taylor leans all the way in, making a 90-degree angle. Arozarena heads for home. The throw, he has stolen home, and it's 5-0 Rays.
I got to be honest with you, that kind of got me going on a Friday right there, man. A lot of stuff, as we say. Happy Friday morning to everybody. Boy, we have had a crap show all week here, so we're going to try to pick it up today and probably when you guys were therapy for me, and if you're just getting up and you didn't realize it through some of the football that we saw on Sunday. And so thanks for hanging in there. We got a big old show coming up here this morning. I got to tell you, man, I love this Tampa story. I never realized.
It's your adopted team at this point.
It really is.
I know.
And I know they don't even like their own team. I get Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay Rays are so far behind the Lightning and the Bucks.
Oh, not even close.
It's embarrassing. I want to hear from people that have lived in the Tampa, St. Pete area. I really do. Because you got a new fan. Because I'm a great front runner, and what you guys have done in all three of your professional teams. You guys are what what Boston was a few years ago with their great teams.
I'm jealous of Tampa.
They had parades like every 4 months. There's another team having a parade in Boston, and you're going, damn, what's that like, man? We can't get to first base, and you guys are hitting grand slams and home runs and celebrating and getting liquored up, and your kids are seeing 14 championships before they go to high school, and you're like, it's not fair. My poor kid is like, I'm not even a South Florida fan, Dad. I've moved away, and he doesn't even ask me how teams are doing anymore.
Right.
Not even the Canes, the team that he loved as a kid. So
there was that nasty picture of like that 14-year-old kid who showed it was a couple years back how many parades he's been to since he's been alive.
Yeah, I always think.
Remember that? There's always those pictures they show like the 19-year-old kid who's been to 4 Patriot parades and 2 Bruins, and he was at the one Celtic
Red Sox. Yeah.
It pisses me off. Oh,
yeah. Well, listen, Tampa Bay's on that run, even though they don't have 4 teams. They don't. Orlando is not Tampa Bay for basketball, and they're not very good in basketball anyway, Orlando. But it really is interesting for people to have lived, and I don't expect to say you live your whole life in Tampa Bay and move down here, but if you've lived and you get up and you went to school up there, South Florida, or you another school up there, or you just lived up there for a while and you moved down here, I would just ask, how did the Rays get so far behind? Now, I know the Lightning have done everything right. By the way, all those organizations are well run out there.
Yes, they are.
Maybe we should applaud all that stuff. By the way, Steven's in this morning for Hollywood. Hollywood's up in Disney World for a couple of days. He needed it. He needed a few days off.
We did too.
Steven, yeah, we need it from him. Steven, how are you, man?
I'm doing good, man, but I want to answer that question, how they're behind everybody. Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Tom Brady showed up and changed everything.
No, it's a good call.
Right.
They took the Tampa market to a new level, but listen, that lightning thing, although I agree, not everybody in Tampa Bay loves football. They're a little bit like this market, but they are so good and have so many great players that they've got, and they've added great pieces. And by the way, unlike the two sports I just mentioned, baseball, you can have whatever amount of money. You can spend $250 million a year. Some teams like the Marlins and Tampa Bay and a couple others have said, all we can do is 60.
Right.
And you're going, okay, well, then you never have a chance to win. And Tampa's like, that's not true, Joe.
Yeah, look at us. Right.
That's not true. And last night was another great look at a team. By the way, Tampa Bay won 100 games in baseball. And I'm not going to – it's a big football day, and I'm not hitting this too hard. But they won 100 games in regular season. They had a better record than the Yankees, who spend $1 zillion. The Red Sox, who they're playing now, won 5-0 last night. Toronto's got a nice young team, full of just loaded, one of the more fun teams to watch. They were hanging around. So they've got all these teams, and Tampa Bay's a team that gets 100 wins. Arozarena last night, Randy Arozarena. Remember, he exploded last year. Barely was in the majors, went through the playoffs, put the team on his back, put the piano on his back, and was unbelievable. So last night, he hits a bomb and steals home. Just an incredible big boy, big pair, marched it down, studied this guy, and I mean, it was clean. It wasn't even close. The guy beats the throw to the plate. It's a little high, slides underneath. So, you're going, man, these guys are unbelievable in the draft. So I remember I looked this up last year, and I looked it up again last night while I'm watching this. This guy, St. Louis had him, and saw him for a little bit, and he did. He hit 300 for a cup of coffee late in the year with St. Louis, and they traded him because they wanted somebody else from Tampa Bay. So what's Tampa Bay get? Probably the Rookie of the Year.
Right.
Guy that steals 20 bases, has 20 home runs, and then gets to the playoffs. And I don't know what happened. He's a Cuban-born player. But here he is, just having an incredible year. And you're going, Tampa Bay pulled one over on St. Louis.
They do it all the time, don't they?
But they're doing it to St. Louis is pretty well-run organization. Right. You like to think, and Tampa Bay sits there again. I don't know who's running that thing. I don't look it up. I don't really care. But, man, it's, little trade with St. Louis. And you're going, that was a hell of a trade. And he didn't even have enough at-bats last year, so he's going to probably be, I think he hit 274, 275 this year. Probably going to be. And then what he does in the playoffs like last night. I mean, talk about a guy that's ready for the big moment. Anyway, Tampa Bay wins 5-0. I wanted to get that out because
that's your team right now.
I like
in the AL at least.
Yeah, not the other one's playing tonight. By the way, if you're a baseball junkie, I don't know,
yeah.
all four teams playing today, and they're going to start knocking these things out every day, and playing some serious baseball.
You're a baseball fan. Today's the day to play hooky, right?
5-game series, including trying to figure out how to stay awake tonight to watch San Francisco Game 1 against those loaded L.A. Dodgers up there.
9:37 first pitch tonight, Joe.
It's got to be one hot ticket. Yeah, 6:37 out there, Zach.
Right.
That's
yes. I'm just talking about you're watching, not your dad watching. I know your dad will watch that game.
He's up. Yeah, he's up, and he's probably up right now thinking about matchups and who's pitching and who'll be the first person in out of the bullpen and the whole thing.
Think about our weather outside. It's a crisp 53 degrees tonight in San Francisco.
That's the Bay Area, man,
that's
at
awesome.
its best. That's why a lot of guys don't want to play out there. Throw a little wind coming off the bay, and a lot of guys go, that's just not for me. All right, we had a lot of other stuff going on last night. We got plenty of stuff to get to here this morning. By the way, pretty good game last night. The Rams are really, really good, and we talk about the best players showing up. And I know there was great stats by Matthew Stafford, and Robert Woods had a fantasy football special for somebody out there, 12 catches and 150 yards and a wolf. But Aaron Donald, whatever you look at, and a couple of tackles for loss and a sack and the pressures, he's at a different level to the point. If he stays healthy, he's going to be in this talk for Player of the Year defensively every year. He is so good what he does. And a lot of times defensive linemen play well. We got a guy down here. I talked about nobody playing well. Ogba is by far the best player on the team right now, quietly with a sack and a half, but the pressures and the way he's playing in the last year of a contract, I'm sure he's not overly excited. He hasn't been taken care of as clearly the best pass rusher in an important position. And his work doesn't show up because you look and you go, well, what's the big deal? And if you just look at sacks and you don't look at his whole body of work and the amount of pressures he gets on just how good he is, but that's how this 285, 290-pound defensive tackle plays inside for the Rams.
He's ridiculous.
He's worth every dime,
right.
And the handful of plays or more that he makes to the point you finally got to help him. You got to help on him, or he will just absolutely destroy your game plan.
He's disruptive on every single play, somehow, some way. He's in there. He might not make the tackle. He might not hit the quarterback, but somehow, some way, every single play, he's in on it.
If you're out of the pocket, if you're forced out of the pocket, it's always a good chance he had something to do with it. There is no question. And the guy they were playing against last night before he got hurt is pretty damn good getting out of the pocket, Russell Wilson, and finding things. So anyway, last night, Geno Smith, who's from down here, went to Miramar High School. One of the, what do we got, 3 quarterbacks down here in the South Florida area, Jacoby and Teddy Bridgewater.
Right.
But Geno looked pretty good. He had an interception. I don't know if it was his fault completely because his receiver fell down. And receivers, look at, man, you fall down, that ball hangs up there, and it's supposed to be for you. You just absolutely screwed your quarterback for sure. He's got big problems. We have a lot of stuff going on here. Got a big show coming up this morning too. But Lamar Jackson had some really. Speaking of another guy from South Florida, I left out the fourth guy.
That's true. You're right.
Yeah,
the
Lamar,
MVP. Right.
Lamar's actually. I still haven't got the story, but I've talked to guys that know him from the Deerfield Beach area, up in Pompano, in the northeast side of Broward County. And he went to Boynton Beach High School. He flipped up there somehow. By the way, everything's legal now, as you know. You can go anywhere you want, so it's not a big deal. But I've been trying to figure out that story. Someday I hope to get a minute with Lamar and just try to figure it out because he never really says he's from Boynton Beach. That's where he lives. He always kind of brings up the Deerfield
Broward
Beach.
County, right.
Pompano area, yeah, in Broward. Yes, in Broward. So anyway, he comes out. And he goes, man, it's sure nice to be if quarterbacks could be protected more. And he was trying to not just talk about his situation because he didn't want to get ripped, but I was like, Lamar, we can't protect you guys anymore.
Right. Like, what else can we do?
Like, if you're talking on behalf of the quarterback brotherhood of the NFL, look at, man, I'm watching this up close for a long time since they put in the Brady rule there. There's not much more we can do. But I will tell you, this is a weird one. Zach, I don't know if you saw this. I wanted to bring it up early. He's a South Florida guy. He has not had a roughing the quarterback penalty in the past 600 drop back plays that he's run, 600, and has not had one roughing the quarterback penalty going back to December 2019.
I saw that. I can't believe that.
I'll be honest.
The way he runs the ball and takes the ball, none. I can't believe that.
I saw a rookie quarterback for New England getting some soft calls. Like he hadn't even done it because we talk about your reputation and, and let's be honest, man, in the NBA and the NFL, let's be honest. I mean, you get the benefit of the doubt if they look to see what the name on the jersey is. I think
the Jordan rules?
I think they do the same in the NBA. I definitely do think they do the same in the NFL, especially because I see a lot. I know it's not the case. I've seen a couple of our guys make pretty damn good hits. We've had some phantom calls. We've been screwed on some calls. It's not why we're losing, but we've had some hits. Jalen Phillips had one, and you're like, you went back and you're going, Jalen, what do you? He didn't do anything wrong. They called it. He never touched the head.
Protecting the quarterback.
They absolutely whiffed on that call. It was terrible. And you know why they got it? Because the quarterback is sitting there going, hey, he's pointing. Pointing, and the guy goes, oh, thanks for the heads up. Hit you in the head, huh? Right. Bam, there's a penalty.
Did you guys, you probably spoke about it earlier this week, but did you see, I think it was the Falcons game where they called a late hit for Matt Ryan? He was literally on his knee throwing the ball. Like, he was down, and he got two-hand touched through the flag.
Got to protect the quarterbacks.
Man, I got to tell you, and I do.
All about protecting the
always talk to Jason about this. Jason Taylor doing the game. And by the way, he because he was a swiper. Like the guy would go back, he'd come around the back
and try to get the ball.
He'd try to knock the arm off or the football, and occasionally he would catch a little bit of the helmet. And he had some of those calls, and I still remember them. And so when he sees some of this stuff that's going on, a Landon Roberts call blows up the running back, gets back there, forces an incomplete pass on third down. They're going to have to kick instead of they end up going in to score their only touchdown. Those like, come on, man. Like, you can't – I get it. I sat in a meeting. I think I've told everybody here, so they probably, if you've heard it, like this is old guy where they repeat themselves a lot. I'm sitting in a meeting with the NFL. When they have those meetings, I like to go because they explain and you get to ask questions. And of course, everybody's going, man, you guys are overprotecting. He goes, listen, before you get going on your bitching, the league wants to make it very clear from the top down, saying this is not us. This is what the league wants. This is number one. Please don't take it the wrong way. Nobody wants to see Geno Smith have to play.
Right, you're right.
Nobody wants to see Jacoby Brissett play. Nobody wants to see the backup quarterback. Everybody wants to see that game was hyped up because of the starting quarterbacks
Stafford
last
and Russell,
night.
right.
Not backups. People come to see, and that's why we pay them the big bucks, and we've been told we got to do everything possible to protect those guys, including the one that's a joke now, and I don't know how big guys do it, where their body falls on these guys, and if they think it's dogpiling, basically trying to put extra weight on them, that's an automatic. Hey, your 300-pound ass didn't try to get off the side a little bit. You look like you fell on top of him after making that tackle. They call that.
It's just so easy for a 320-pound guy to be a ballerina at the last second.
Yeah,
right?
last second. So just be able to move your body.
Full speed, 300-pound guy in the last second move. Right.
Yeah. So Lamar, man, I heard it, and I feel bad. It is terrible. You haven't had that call, but listen, man. We can't protect that brotherhood of quarterbacks any more than we all.
But his kind of quarterback is always breath different because it was the same issue with Cam Newton a few years ago. He used to have that same complaint that he wasn't as protected because he would run out of the pocket and people would just try to put as much hurt on him as they can every time they tackle him.
When you start running the ball, you're a running back, right? You're not a quarterback anymore.
In fairness, he didn't mention that about getting more calls down the field because, listen, when you're trying to get the extra yard and then you do a last-second slide. Some of these, how about this? Now it sounds like I'm bitching on QBs. Last-second slide and the guy's already started to make the tackle and you do one of those, slide, and you do a last second.
God forbid you touch him when he does that slide. Boy.
It is hard to pull up.
Right.
I've talked to some of those guys going, Joe, once your body's already leaning with that shoulder to pop that guy,
what else are you supposed to do?
Plus, you're frustrated. The son of a gun got outside the pocket.
Right.
We've got probably how many quarterbacks in this league right now can take off when you're in man-to-man, break the pocket and get 15 yards?
More than can't do it. How about that?
There's a guy in Buffalo can do it.
Right.
There's Lamar not only get you for 15, if he thinks you're a little shaky out there, he's thinking 50 on you, right? So you've got a lot more of those kind of guys now that are running better. The guy in Arizona might be the fastest of the whole damn group.
Right.
We got to have a foot race to figure out how fast some of these guys are.
Good luck, yeah.
Anyway, hey, listen, we're running super late there. I did have to get that thing. I was like, Lamar, listen, man, I appreciate you, like to get some calls and get treated like an MVP, and you deserve it, for what you've done, but you ain't getting any sympathy, man, in your hometown. Not here.
A little weird that he hasn't had a call in 2 years.
He's dropped back. They got numbers on he's dropped back 600. Right. I've dropped back 600 times, and you're telling me I haven't been smashed a couple of times?
Right.
Like, everybody's getting calls. Hell, the rookies are getting calls. We watched the Dolphins game. Hey, we got to go to break. A lot more stuff to get to. Stay with us. We'll be back.
Right now, you're hearing all your favorite music on your favorite station. But wait, there's more.
More songs from the artists you love on exclusive stations by Odyssey.
Just open the Odyssey app and click exclusive stations, then a genre to dive deeper into.
A station might be just music, or maybe hosted by Ed Sheeran, Chris Martin, or one of your favorite DJs.
Across alternative, pop,
country, soft rock,
Latin, R&B,
kids,
and even more.
Get more with exclusive stations by Odyssey.
Brought to you by Macy's, Geico, and Coke Zero Sugar.
I was a sophomore in college when I was assaulted.
I was only 4.
I've attended many parole hearings for my mother's killer.
I felt helpless.
But now I have a voice.
Because I'm not alone. Because I can.
ICANN Crime Victims Assistance Network provides comprehensive victim services, including counseling and assistance at parole hearings free of charge to victims and survivors of violence. Visit ican-foundation.org.
We're here to help.
The project was supported by funding awarded by Federal Grant Fund 2019V2GX0053 through the Cal OES.
Sweet tango apples, apples so good they make you smile.
They're crisp, they're juicy, and the flavor's just right. With a taste of citrus, honey, and spice. Sweet tango apples, ask for them by name. When you taste that healthy, crispy crunch, you'll know the other apples aren't the same.
Sweet tango apples, apples so good they make you smile.
There's a lot of streaming services out there, each filled with reality TV, comedy, drama, and of course, superheroes. But there's one dedicated entirely to nonfiction TV and documentary films, and that's Curiosity Stream. History, science, nature, we've got it. Space, dinosaurs, big cats, we've got that too. And pretty much anything else you want to explore. Go ahead, add some smart TV to your smart TV with Curiosity Stream. Go to curiositystream.com to sign up and start streaming today.
Hey! Welcome back, man. Happy Friday to everybody out there. You know what I always say first thing in the morning, man? Do not let anybody mess up your Friday. I don't care what's good. You got a busy day. You got a little stress coming in, that bad boy. Down the road, just remember when it's over that it's Friday. Man, just, you know,
Friday.
I get the Mondays are tough, and sometimes that Wednesday can be, you know, a little tough. But boy, Friday, you just
tough to mess up a Friday.
No, man, you can, you know, it's just a good day. Always my favorite. A lot of it is high school football. Speaking of that, Larry Bluestein is going to join us at 7:20 this morning, like he usually does. We got a lot to talk about. Little shake up there. Talk about 2 unbelievable games last week with what has become 2 of the best rivalries in South Florida, one in Dade and one in Broward County. Really hard to beat because every time they play and you hype it up, it always lives up to the hype. Every time you go to Trash Pal, that Central and Northwestern game, and even if one team seems like it's a little down, first of all, those guys all know each other. They grow up together. They know it. And then the one that's crazy is if somebody would have told me a few years ago that American Heritage Plantation and Cardinal Gibbons would have great games every time they play that comes down to a last-second field goal, last-second interception on a drive, just crazy, and yet that's what we've been getting from those two. And last week, I mean, you couldn't make that up. The 2 biggest games, those 2 games by far, the 2 biggest games that were played came down to no time left, winning field goals from 34 and like 42 yards. You could not make that up. I mean, they can't get any closer to that, especially the way it happened. I mean, Central's up. They got a great team. They're up by 2 touchdowns. 5 minutes left. You're going, well, that's the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
Well, that's the way it's supposed to be. Central's considered to be one of the best teams in the country, loaded, and that Northwestern team picks up a loose ball, runs it back, and we got a tie game. Central's got to march down the field because they're a great team. Anyway, just
doesn't Northwestern do that just about every season now? When people are looking down them a little bit, all of a sudden they go on a little bit of a run. If they're not already one of the top teams in the state, it's that year that they're off a little bit, and they're really not off.
They have a way. They had a great championship a few years back where they were at 500, below 500, and then all of a sudden went on the road and started kicking everybody's butt. Now, this kind of goes back to you get a little confidence, and then you beat a really good team and go, hey, you start looking around the room going, we got a lot of really good players, and they keep going. But I will tell you, some of those players and why I think it's still important to recruit them down here, and why everybody in the country spends a lot of their recruiting budget. A lot of these kids, especially in the inner city, they're made up differently. They got a toughness that you can't coach and you can't teach. These guys just know.
Right.
They know what's going on. There's a reason that there's 100 players between the two counties in the NFL right now. 100 players.
That's ridiculous,
yeah,
that number.
Crazy.
Wow.
Anyway, well, more with that with Larry Bluestein coming up here. Like I said, we got a busy and crazy night. A lot of good games, by the way, if you're looking forward to this weekend. A lot of good stuff, and we'll talk more about that down the road. So the Dolphins yesterday, Byron Jones was back after missing practice.
Thank goodness.
And I was like, that's a big jump from no practice and out. And usually, I'll tell you, when a guy's out on Wednesday, I get a little worried. I'm one of those guys, like, because, you try to read into how coaches treat it. And again, I hope he's okay. But then now they're saying the X-Man's got a groin. And so we'll see how that goes and see what kind of – I always look, today's a big one because it's Friday. Do they put questionable? That doubtful thing is just that.
Doubtful's no good, right?
Doubtful is right next to being the best friend to out. Those guys hang around together a lot because very seldom you see a guy doubtful on Friday and he friggin' ends up playing on Sunday. It just doesn't happen. I see Gronk is going to be out again this week, and they've got him
just can't have
doubtful.
nice things, though, right? Like Byron Jones finally comes back to practice, and Xavier Howard now gets on the injured list. Like, don't tease me like that. I was worried about Byron Jones not playing. And now maybe Xavier? Like, come on. We're going to need all hands on deck against Tampa Bay.
Yep. So anyway, we'll see how. And by the way, if it is, it's going on with every team. Tampa Bay's down. They've lost three corners. They don't want to hear about it. They've lost another guy.
They pick up Richard Sherman, and he practiced on a Wednesday and started.
Played 58 of 59 snaps in a game.
That's how bad they are.
Hey, by the way, we're not only going to sign you, but we are so shorthanded. And he goes, well, I kind of need a week to just kind of get my going.
He said that, right.
And they go, nah. You're going to have to play.
Right. And play a lot.
Right away. Yeah. Every snap. Because I don't know if you looked around, but you're our best corner we have. So, yeah.
Imagine
right off.
Right,
crazy.
Right.
Crazy
just
stuff.
Imagine coming in on a Wednesday thinking that you got at least a week to get it all together and everything, right. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, yep, you got to start. You got to play a lot. And in the middle of that, one of our other corners, who was our third string guy, he goes down in the game also.
Well, the only thing Tampa Bay doesn't do well right now. They don't run the ball great, but they're they're leading the league per game in yards. So once again, Brady is just the GOAT is goating out right now again. But the one thing that their numbers are down because they give up a lot of passing yards. They blitz a lot. That always scares me. They blitz as much as anybody in the league right now, along with a really good pass rush on the outside anyway. They've got some really good players they're going to get after it, and I got a feeling going to be a lot of copycatting going on there to see how those young tackles hold up and the guys inside to see if you get some time and can get some of your receivers going in this game to have a chance. So anyway, that's going to be on Sunday. We got a lot of stuff to get to here this morning. Also, Pete Prisco from CBS Football, he's going to join us coming up here in a couple of minutes. We're going to have him on. We're going to talk about the Dolphins. We're going to talk a little bit about that story down in Jacksonville. Pete spent a lot of time in Jacksonville and knows the organization as well as anybody. So we'll have that. By the way, I saw the wife came out yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And she's right about one thing, and I do. That's why I try to come clean on everything. Like, you're right. Maybe I shouldn't be the one guy calling somebody else out, but I'm not the head coach of an NFL team.
You're not.
And she threw the God card out yesterday.
Right.
She did. She got me on the religion thing yesterday on all of you. We're all sinners. And she loves her husband. Of course you love your husband. You're used to it. You've seen this show for a long time.
Talk about stand by your man, though.
Stand by your man. Stand by your man. Yeah. Anyway, he made a mistake. I feel like every time something comes out with Urban, we're talking about like a 23-year-old guy, not a guy that's close to 60 years old. It's just like, hey, bro, even I've grown up a little bit. Not a lot.
I like how you threw yourself
but a little bit. Well, because people go, Joe, really?
Yeah.
My guys always go, really, Joe? You're going to get on somebody?
Don't sell yourself short.
You're going to get on somebody for having a few drinks and deciding to drink and then dancing with some girl at a place and goofing around. Like, if that stuff got out. Well, that's why I don't do it, just to finish that story.
Survive that one,
yeah,
right?
no, I wouldn't
Don't even finish that.
I would not do that. And if you've seen me do it, your eyes are lying to you, man. Hey, right now, before we get to Pete, I want to tell you about your South Florida Chevy dealers this morning. Feeling good, feeling right? It's a Chevy weekend coming up, man, for you. And I know you are absolutely going to go crazy about our new products. 2021 is the best overall products we've ever had. And right now, I've been talking a lot about the SUV family because I think our SUVs, from the Blazers and Trailblazers, the Equinox SUV, our small SUV, loaded with everything you need, and our midsize SUV, that new Traverse, which is so spacious. I thought it was big. When I got in, I go, wow, you guys got a new big SUV? And they go, no, it's midsize, Joe. It just has a lot of space. That's why it's so popular and has a great look. And then I saw the new Tahoes and Suburbans with that sporty look, and I go, something else different about it. They go, yeah, it's got more room. We've added more space to our big SUVs. And then Silverado trucks. Listen, we are so overloaded with Silverado trucks, those big, strong, durable trucks. Perfect for your lifestyle. We've got the perfect truck for you working 7 days a week and still got to get the kids around. We've got such great deals because we have so many. You're going to hear some of the dealerships talking about, come on down. We want to make sure you get a price you love and the truck you love even more. That's what you're going to get this weekend at your South Florida Chevy dealers. Convenient locations everywhere, man. Dade, Broward, and Monroe County. Find new roads and fall in love at your South Florida Chevy dealer.
Right now, you're hearing all your favorite music on your favorite station. But wait, there's more.
More songs from the artists you love on exclusive stations by Odyssey.
Just open the Odyssey app and click exclusive stations, then a genre to dive deeper into.
A station might be just music, or maybe hosted by Ed Sheeran, Chris Martin, or one of your favorite DJs.
Across alternative, pop,
country, soft rock,
Latin, R&B,
kids,
and even more.
Get more with exclusive stations by Odyssey.
Brought to you by Macy's, Geico, and Coke Zero Sugar.
I was a sophomore in college when I was assaulted.
I was only 4.
I've attended many parole hearings for my mother's killer.
I felt helpless.
But now I have a voice.
Because I'm not alone. Because I can.
ICANN Crime Victims Assistance Network provides comprehensive victim services, including counseling and assistance at parole hearings free of charge to victims and survivors of violence. Visit ican-foundation.org.
We're here to help.
The project was supported by funding awarded by Federal Grant Fund 2019V2GX0053 through the Cal OES.
Sweet tango apples, apples so good they make you smile.
They're crisp, they're juicy, and the flavor's just right. With a taste of citrus, honey, and spice. Sweet tango apples, ask for them by name. When you taste that healthy, crispy crunch, you'll know the other apples aren't the same.
Sweet tango apples, apples so good they make you smile.
All right, Joe, we're heading out to the Toyota of Hollywood hotline right now. Shop over 1,500 Toyotas indoors in one of America's largest showrooms at Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood and Sheridan. Senior NFL columnist for CBSSports.com and analyst for CBS Sports HQ, Pete Prisco, joining us here for a couple of minutes. Pete, good morning. Thanks for the time as always.
What's up, guys?
Pete, not too much, man, but, well, I'll tell you what, just when you think football's really bad down here, Urban tries to just help us out a little bit so we can look at the craziness. By the way, at least he had good taste, good-looking lady that he was hanging with a little bit. Was doing the bump to bump with her a little bit there. Hey, what's your thoughts on Pete, on what's going to happen there with Urban? Does he get through it? Does he stay and get through this, or do you think he is on his way out and got other problems?
I think he's on his way out. And look, what he does is private life. That's between him and his wife, right? I mean, that they have to deal with that on a regular basis, and that's their problem. But not flying back with your team, I mean, that's where it's inexcusable to me. I mean, you lost on a last-second field goal at the gun. Get on the plane with your team. If you want to go back to Ohio, get on a private jet and go. As one of the guys in the organization said to me, he said, look, Con would have given him his private jet to go back if that's what he badly wanted to do. You got to go back with your team. I've never, other than a funeral or something like that, right, or a recruiting trip in college, you always go home with your team, and that's where the disconnect is. I think it's, the guy is. They traded C.J. Henderson last week. He had 10 games in his career. Okay, he had some issues, but he traded him after 10 games. He was a top 10 pick. After he traded him, he said, look, I had a nice conversation with CJ and his parents. Why is he talking to NFL players' parents? This isn't college. And so I think that's where the problem is. There's a lot, people in the building can't stand them. Guys who are gregarious and were as coaches before now, they bury their heads then when they walk by and they don't talk to people anymore. It's just a bad culture right now. So I think Cons came out with a statement the other day, so he doesn't have to pay him. And, if he's hoping he resigns and they can work out something, maybe they give him $10 million to go away after a couple more weeks. And so I think that's the way it'll end up playing out. I don't, if you fire him, that would be a hard one for cause. So I think you'd have a problem with that. But if you can get him to say, hey, look, Urban, we're going to get rid of you after the season. You might want to save face or resign. Then maybe they can work out some kind of settlement.
Pete, we had an interesting question asked here by Hollywood to Joe and myself. If you're the owner of a team right now and you're out there going to hire a new head coach, would you look inside the NFL at coordinators or maybe at a hot college coach right now after seeing, some have success, some don't, but I just think it's really just sink or swim where a guy does really well or it's just a disaster with the former college coach. What would you do right now, Pete?
I'd go with an offensive coordinator or an offensive coach. I mean, if I was Jacksonville, that's what I would do. But, I mean, look, Tom Coughlin came from Boston College when he was there. But he had been in the NFL.
Right.
Matt Rule, came from the college game, but he had been in the NFL. He worked on Coughlin's staff back in the day with the Giants. When you're in the NFL for a while, you understand what it takes to be around, players and treat them like grown men. I think when you come from the college game, it's a tough transition. Now, the one guy who did it, Jimmy did it. But Jimmy always had that attitude. Jimmy knew how to handle players, and so Jimmy could do that. But most of them have no idea, and I think that's where the problem is with the college coaches. So I would lean to an NFL assistant. Like if I'm Jacksonville, Urban Meyer has Darrell Bevell and Schottenheimer trying to work with that quarterback. The kid has a ton of talent. Go get Joe Brady. Make Joe Brady your head coach. Do you want to fix the quarterback? You want to get him going, or Kellen Moore, or somebody like that? That's the kind of guy you need in Jacksonville. So I would go NFL assistant route.
We had an interesting one yesterday. I was a little surprised by it. I guess I shouldn't with Belichick. Stephon Gilmore ends up first. It looked like he was going to be released, and I was thinking, my God, he's going to have everybody's brother calling to see what it's going to cost. They end up trading him to Carolina. What'd you think of the deal?
Well, first things first. It's games, not names. And Stephon Gilmore last year was not very good. He was average. And he's 31, 30, going on 32, close to 32, and he's coming off a season where it was cut short by injury. And so I asked around yesterday after all this stuff was going down, and some of the personnel guys I talked to said, look, at times last year he looked disinterested. The book on him is he's more concerned with the money. And so I think that we sometimes get caught up in who they are and who they were rather than who they are. And so let me put that out there. And then as far as the deal, I think for Carolina, giving up a 6th-round pick to get a guy like that, sure. Now what the problem becomes, what do you do with the contract, and how do you finagle that and fix it for him? Because if he wasn't happy with his contract in New England, he's not going to be happy with his contract in Carolina. So I think there's an issue there. It'd be interesting to see how he plays. Because last year he was just okay. He wasn't great. I mean, he wasn't awful. The year before he was fantastic, defensive player of the year and all that. But last year was just average at best, and he looked disinterested.
But don't you think everybody today's game? We've been talking a lot about this down here. guys want. I know we want everybody to think it's a big team, and that's all that's. Guys want to get paid though too. Money is just such a big part, and we talk more about money than I ever remember in the old days talking about money, Pete.
Yeah, because you guys didn't get any.
Right.
That's true. 35, 42, 50, man. You're right. That's right.
That's like a bad fine now. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a bad look. I have no problem with any player who puts money as the priority. And in fact, I've walked around. I've had this for a long time conversation going around the league and camp and talking to players and stuff. I've always asked it. Rank your priorities and rank the priorities the way they should be in order. Money, ring, Hall. And so every one of them, it's got to be the ring. And I mean, really? I go, no, the number one priority is the money. The number two priority is getting to the Hall, because if you get to the Hall, you did your damn job well enough that's all that matters. And so what if the other guys around you didn't? Then ring is number three. And I always say, you don't see a lot of guys selling money on eBay. You see plenty of guys selling their rings on eBay.
That's right.
So it's always money first. And so I don't have a problem with that. And I know some people out there do, but that's what they do. They play. That's why you got to understand who they are as players. They play the game for their job. That's their business. That's why coaches like Meyer can't handle when they don't understand that they don't play for the rah-rah and the coach, you know?
Pete, I got to ask you this as well. Miami Dolphins. Let me bring the dark cloud and put it over my head one more time.
Pete's been down here. He got to spend a little time down here.
1-3 on the season. Tampa Bay now on the docket. Jacoby Brissett's your quarterback for at least one more week. The rebuild started, 2+ years ago. Is this team any better than it was before the rebuild at this point?
I'm disappointed in how they played, I'll be honest with you. I thought they'd be much better than they were. And don't get me wrong, they've lost some. The Raider game was a tough game, but last week was terrible. That's a team playing back-to-back road games, the Colts, and they just did nothing. It was an awful performance, and so I was really disappointed. The offensive line's been a major problem. Jacoby Brissett isn't good right now, but once he let him go a little bit in the second half, he looked like he was much better, more comfortable. Maybe that's the way they need to play, but. And what's this deal with the coordinator? Co-coordinators don't call the plays, but somebody else does now? What are they doing? That's what I can't figure out. And offensively, I think they're bad, really bad. That was horrible to watch for, 3 quarters last week. And I don't know if Tua was in there, if they would have been much better. And so that's the scary part. I think defensively, they play hard. I think there's some good players on defense. And, the secondary as a whole is really good. And I think they're getting better up front. So, I'm not so much worried about the defense. I just think that offense is really bad in the offensive line. They've invested a lot of capital in that offensive line for it not to be that good.
Yeah, so that's one part. But the other part with Coach, because somebody asked me, like, oh, you've been Coach Flores' biggest fan. You seem down on him. I go, no, he's done two things that I just haven't seen a lot of in the NFL. One is his co-coordinators plus one. The quarterback coach, and whatever, there's different rumors and speculation about who's running things and who's not, and who's actually calling the plays and putting a game plan together. The other one, Pete, I'm not a big fan of. Like, if a guy's good at something or good at a position, put him at that. If the guy's a right tackle, I don't want to see him at left guard. If a guy's a pass rusher, then I want him to be a pass rusher. I don't want to see him dropping into coverage or trying to cover a little running back coming out of the backfield. I want to see him doing what he does best. You think that's fair?
Yeah, that's fair. The co-coordinator stuff is ridiculous. So who's Charlie Fry calling the plays? Who's calling the plays?
Charlie Fry is getting
a lot of people think that Charlie Fry, including the guy that was announcing the game last week, said Charlie Fry's calling the plays. No matter what you hear, Charlie Fry's not only getting the plays, he's calling the plays.
Well, that's what.
We don't know exactly.
Well, the head coach said in his press conference, Flores said in the press conference, said Charlie's getting the plays relayed to him, and he's the last person to talk to the quarterback before the play is kind of happening. So, buddy, we don't know if he's got power to change it.
Hey, Coach Gotze, don't really like that. I'm going to flip this one, or I don't know.
We don't know.
Pete, we don't. Honestly, we don't know.
I always thought that was a disaster from the start. You got to have a guy, co-coordinators. Give me a break. Get a guy so they know who to go to, who to listen to, who to pay attention to. You could have guys with input. I don't mind that, but you have to have a coordinator. That's a bad decision on his part. And I'm with you. I like Flores. I think Flores is a good coach, but that's a bad decision. And as far as using guys in the right spot, I agree. You settle on 5 up front. You're talking about moving guys around as much as they do on the offensive line, and that's been a problem. But some of those guys they expected, like they thought Jackson would be good. He hadn't gotten any better.
No,
it's gotten worse.
I mean, look at that offensive line right now. The center's gone, so what? Mance is in there. I mean, the left guard is average at best. The right guard is average at best, and the right tackle is a kid, and the left tackle's bad. I mean, it's just not a good group right now.
Yeah, and Solomon Kinley, who played all of last year, was the guy they decided was the biggest problem on that offensive line. So just crazy, crazy stuff. But, Pete, thank you so much, man. It's always great having you on. Appreciate you always coming on, spend a little time with you, man.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Pete.
You got it. Hey, by the way, if they lose this week, is the heat on him?
Oh boy, I don't know, but I could tell you, I could tell you one thing: Jacksonville will all of a sudden come together as a team if they don't beat Tennessee this week. Going, we got the damn Dolphins in London. Let's go.
Someone's got to win that game, right? See ya.
All right, guys, take care. See ya.
Let's go from CBSSports.com.
Hot
on the
damn right.
Hollywood Hotline. Yeah, someone. Well, I mean, I guess not, right? They could tie.
Oh, God. I hope that doesn't happen. Anyway, we've got 9 o'clock hour coming up. We'll jump in. 305-567-0560. Boy, a lot of crazy stuff going on. But I'll tell you what's not crazy and make you feel a lot better, especially if you're dragging a little bit today. Edge Energy Drink. I've been talking about all these energy drinks that are out there right now. Edge Energy Drink is by far the best tasting, and I was asked by Johnny Law, says, hey, try this. He sent me some. I iced them up. I said, damn, these are good. And he goes, hey, by the way, not only is it a nice pick-me-up if you want to get off that coffee a little bit during the day and have a little bit before you go out and play tennis, it really is a nice pick-me-up through the day if you're dragging a little bit. And, oh, by the way, you want a little something, put in a little vodka or rum on the weekends or when you're going to relax a little bit, boy, do they go nicely together. I just want to tell you, when you talk about a little cream soda, citrus taste combination there, it's really, really tasty, man, with zero aftertaste. I know you're going to like it. And I've been saying this, wholesale prices and a wide selection of favorite drinks delivered right to your door. It's a VIP treatment from liquorsplit.com. It's liquorsplit.com will deliver your Edge Energy drink in under 30 minutes. It's a new hot thing going. It's a new South Florida lifestyle. It really is for you. So go to liquorsplit.com, put in the code CHEERS15 and get 15% discount. Just tell them Joe Rose sent you. Get that 15%. It's a great way to go. Purchase Edge Energy exclusively from Liquor Split for the fastest and affordable delivery service in the game. Get the edge over the competition. Get the best tasting energy drink. It really is good. Edge at liquorsplit.com. That's liquorsplit.com.
Keeping up with the flood of news every single day can be quite stressful. There is climate change happening. There's the pandemic, labor movements, Nicki Minaj's cousin's friend. Hi, I am Gideon Resnick, host of Crooked Media's What a Day. Each week, Travell Anderson, Priyanka Arabindi, Josie Duffy Rice, and I are going to break down the biggest news stories of the day in a way that hopefully doesn't always make you want to cry. New episodes of What a Day drop every weekday at 5 a.m. Eastern. Listen on Odyssey, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Right now, you're hearing all your favorite music on your favorite station. But wait, there's more.
More songs from the artists you love on exclusive stations by Odyssey.
Just open the Odyssey app and click exclusive stations, then a genre to dive deeper into.
A station might be just music, or maybe hosted by Ed Sheeran, Chris Martin, or one of your favorite DJs.
Across alternative, pop,
country, soft rock,
Latin, R&B,
kids,
and even more.
Get more with exclusive stations by Odyssey.
Brought to you by Macy's, Geico, and Coke Zero Sugar.
I was a sophomore in college when I was assaulted.
I was only 4.
I've attended many parole hearings for my mother's killer.
I felt helpless.
But now I have a voice.
Because I'm not alone. Because I can.
ICANN Crime Victims Assistance Network provides comprehensive victim services, including counseling and assistance at parole hearings free of charge to victims and survivors of violence. Visit ican-foundation.org.
We're here to help.
The project was supported by funding awarded by Federal Grant Fund 2019 V2GX0053 through the Cal OES.